So ChatGPT is the biggest thing on the internet right now, and I thought as a classical pianist, I will ask it some questions and see how much knowledge does it have of the piano and what kind of response can it generate. I have prepared 5 categories of questions with 3 questions in each category, and I start very easily, some general knowledge stuff that anyone can answer or anyone can Google, and then later on a bit more complicated. So let's kick things off with a very simple question. Who wrote La Campanella for the piano? And I hope you guys know that too. La Campanella for piano was written by Franz Liszt. Very good, very precise. Now let's ask another question. How many piano works did Chopin write? I'm actually interested because I don't know. 200 works for solo piano, I see. So I thought it would be less than that, but I guess there's so many pieces if you count them all together. Waltzes, nocturnes, mazurkas. Yeah, 200 works sounds about right. And now let's include a little bit of a fun one. Tell me 5 fun facts about pianos. The piano has over 10,000 parts. Actually, didn't know it was 10,000. I thought it was like 8,000 or something like that. But I know that pianos are under enormous tension, 20 tons of pressure, and yeah. So nice little trick there. You can ask for some fun facts. Now let's step up one category and get a bit tougher. So now I want to be a bit more specific and maybe stuff that cannot be immediately Googled. For example, how many piano sonatas in the key of G major did Mozart write? Okay, great. So very precise answer. We have these 2 sonatas, and I think this is also useful if you want to find repertoire that is in a specific key. You could ask, I'm playing a Brahms piece in this key and I want a fitting Beethoven piece. Then you can ask for a specific piece in a specific key, which is, I guess, very useful. Now my next question is, name me 3 pieces that were influenced by Chopin's ballades. Great, so we have the Brahms ballades opus 10, then Rachmaninoff, and then Grieg. Oh my god, did you guys notice the mistake here? It says Ballade by Rachmaninoff, when obviously that's the prelude. Somehow I completely missed this when recording, and I didn't see it actually made the mistake. So it probably meant the prelude opus 23, not the ballade, because there is no ballade. I cannot confirm directly if they were influenced by Chopin's ballades, but I'm gonna go ahead and assume that that's right. And now for a bit of a silly one, but I'm actually interested in the reply here. I'm asking, compare the piece Flight of the Bumblebee with Chopin's Etude opus 10 number 2. Okay, so quite a lengthy reply here. It says Flight of the Bumblebee by Rimsky-Korsakov and Chopin's Etude are both virtuose. Okay, it's calling it piano pieces, yeah, but they have some differences in terms of style, form, and content. Let's go ahead and read. Style, character piece. Okay, so it does acknowledge it's part of an opera. Okay, that's great. So I was thinking for a second that it thought that the Flight of the Bumblebee is a piano piece. Of course, it's part of the opera with an orchestra. So it does acknowledge that, and then the Flight of the Bumblebee is a continuous, rapidly changing musical sequence, binary form. Okay, content, fast, flashy display. It's not overly lyrical, but I'm kind of missing the chromatic aspect in both of the pieces, which is the one thing that ties it together. That was the one word I was looking for here that I think ties both pieces together. But good reply nonetheless. So now let's move it up a gear, and for this level I will ask some direct comparisons. This will be more subjective, I think, but I'm interested in what ChatGPT has to say about this. So compare the difficulty of Ballade number 1 with the Ballade number 4 by Chopin. Okay, so again a lengthy reply here, and it does compare the two by technical demands. Ballade number 4 is considered to be more technically demanding. Absolutely agree, well done. It also even says which technical skills are required here. Musical structure is more straightforward, the Ballade 1, yes, I agree again. And the Ballade number 4 has a more complex and fragmented structure. Very well said. Interpretation demands more interpretatives. Yes. Very well said. So it does compare the 2 pieces on 3 different levels and 3 different aspects, and I think that's absolutely great. That's exactly how pieces should be compared, not only on the technical demands, but also musical structure and the interpretation and the maturity you need to bring to perform a piece. So in conclusion, both require a high skill in musical understanding, but the ballad number 4 is generally considered to be more difficult. ChatGPT, I absolutely agree, well done. So now I have another question about difficulty, which is related to one of my last videos I did about Liszt etudes, transcendental etudes. So let's see which one is the most demanding. So it says it's subjective to determine which of Franz Liszt etudes is the most technically demanding. Yeah, that's right, as it depends on the pianist. However, some of the most demanding etudes are Feu-Follet, right, Mazeppa and Wild Hunt. So I think this is almost exactly what I said in my video, except I also put Chasse-Neige, the number 12 etude, in there. But again, very good understanding, very good source of knowledge, and obviously trained very well, because I was not sure if it recognizes the difficulty or if it can output a valid response in this way. But this is absolutely good information, also for someone who wanted to know, which etudes are the hardest ones. I think that's a very, very fair reply. And now I would like to know, name 3 pieces that Beethoven used as an inspiration when he composed the Appassionata Sonata. So this is something that I don't know myself, so I'm very looking forward to the response by ChatGPT here. So it says we have 3 works here: the Mozart Sonata in A minor, I can see that, the Haydn piano sonatas, especially the C minor, and Bach, interesting, the Prelude in C minor. Okay, so these works, it says, inspired Beethoven in different ways, such as the use of counterpoint harmony and form, which he adapted and developed in his own unique style. Okay, so again, this is not something that I can immediately confirm. It does sound reasonable. I can see them being a part of an influence. However, of course, here you need to be a little bit careful and do your own research in case you were using this to make an essay or something like that. You would have to look into more details, because I'm not particularly sure these 3 pieces are the ones that influenced him the most. However, I think it's still a valid reply. Okay, level 4, now we really get into it. Now it becomes more abstract and not so much general knowledge. So my question is, give me an estimate of how many hours a professional pianist with 20 years of experience needs to learn Rachmaninoff's Concerto No. 2. Alright, so let's see the reply. The first thing here is always a disclaimer that it depends on the person and the technical proficiency, etc. Then it says, however, as a rough estimate, a dedicated pianist could expect to spend several hundred hours or more learning the work. Several hundred hours, okay. It's important to note that Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2 is considered one of the most technically demanding piano concertos in the repertoire. Okay, requiring exceptional levels of skills and virtuosity. So that's interesting. I think professional pianists would agree that it is not considered one of the most technically demanding piano concertos. It's of course by no means easy or anything like that, but if we're talking about considered one of the most technically demanding piano concertos, then I don't think people are going to mention the Rachmaninoff second concerto. But this made me very curious actually to just go ahead and ask it a very blunt question, which is not the next question I had in mind in my category, but I just want to know, what are the hardest piano pieces? And of course it seems that question is too much for ChatGPT. It cannot tell us what the hardest piano pieces are. So my next question here is, how much time should a pianist focus on learning new repertoire versus perfecting old repertoire? It's actually something that I ask myself as well, and I want to know what ChatGPT answers. Okay, so interesting reply here. The amount of time a pianist should focus on learning new repertoire versus perfecting old repertoire varies depending on individual goals. However, a general guideline could be to dedicate a majority of practice time to perfecting old repertoire while also incorporating some time each day or each week to learning new pieces. Anyone will, have a different take on this, different reply, but I like it. It's a good balance, I think, and the majority seems to go towards perfecting old repertoire, and I think that's the reality of things, is that we spend more time perfecting old repertoire and not that much time reading new repertoire. So yeah, good reply, and everyone can view this thing differently. And my last question here is about how spontaneous should you be in your performance and how much of it is just home preparation. Okay, again, very good reply, and very intelligent. As it says here, it is most important that to notice that too much preparation can result in a rigid performance. So the spontaneous aspect is actually 10 to 20% recommended, and preparation 80 to 90%. I think I'm on the side of 90% preparation and 10% being a spontaneous thing, but of course it can vary. But I think that's a fantastic reply and very helpful. So that's I'm more I didn't expect it to be that detailed and that good, so I'm very surprised. So in conclusion, ChatGPT is really awesome, and there's so many good uses for it. Not just for music or piano music, but in general, coding, asking difficult questions, making essays for you, writing essays, all that kind of stuff, preparing presentations, but also just very smart and fun to work with ChatGPT. I hope you guys enjoyed these questions. I know that some questions were very subjective and don't have a clear answer, and some of them are too specific and ChatGPT doesn't have access to that information. But still, I hope you enjoyed this, and yeah, leave me a comment and I'll see you in the next video.